What's happening, everyone? We are back. We're back for a double header today. Well, a single header on my channel, but I'll be going live with cryptographics at around 4 p.m. Pacific time. Should be great. So, yeah, I thought yesterday talking with Gamma, I know a lot of people had a lot of questions. We couldn't get to them all yesterday. However, I've been working this morning. I have an RPC script that I'm probably going to be publishing soon in case you want to talk to your validator on and use it as your MetaMask RPC service. So did you know that if you are running a validator, you're running a node, right? You can basically do port forwarding just like you do with Grafana to access it. And you can talk to, you can add that network so you can use your own node to do transactions and stuff. So pretty cool. Decentralization, blockchain, right? Very cool. So me and Gamma talked about it a little bit last night, and I was like, oh, that's actually, I should, yeah, and I've been talking to Juyong, the Hexagon, about it as well. So I wanted to kind of flesh that out, see how that works more, see if I can automate it. There's not really much to do on the automation side. You basically just add a flag to make it work to your geth. But I thought that would be cool to dive into. Intellectually challenging for me. It should be fun. So let's say out of the chat real quick, and I'll get into some stuff because we're going to be learning some Linux today. Linux is critical to being able to set up your validator. You need to be able to know how to run commands. You need to understand like the nuance between the different things. And so I'll be talking about that a little bit. Of course, answering some of your questions as much as I can. Probably go for about 45 minutes to an hour or so. So it won't be very long today. As I said, I got to stream later on with graphics. But let's say it's in the chat. I can rate a network, please. I know it can be frustrating. Trust me. When I first started learning how to do it a few months ago too, I was frustrated, and I have a background of. I was answering some comment today. Somebody's like, what do they say? Something like he just put the hat on and he's probably installed Ubuntu Linux once or something like that. And I was like, I never like to, I don't want to flex. I try to, put out what you like in the world to get back what you get. Try to put out good vibes and stuff. But I think some people just make these assumptions and that are often not true at all. So for my background, I might as well tell you, yeah, I've been doing tech for a very long time. I've been working professionally in big tech for a very long time. And I probably started using Linux in 2005 or something like that. So I know Linux. I'm very confident in the words I say around stuff like that. So if you, yeah, not saying I never make mistakes or I don't misnomer stuff from time to time, and I really don't care about the snapshot fork thing. Honestly, I try not to care. So funny. If somebody asked me, this has nothing to do with Linux. It's something I think about from yesterday's conversation. Somebody asked me, when's the snapshot date? You know what I would say? I would say at the fork block height. That's how I would respond, because it doesn't matter. Like nobody really cares the technical meaning behind a lot of this stuff. Like 90% of people on Twitter and otherwise, they just want to know when this thing's going to launch. They just want to know like how to think about it. And again, I don't know why I brought it up. I was just on my mind for a second. But anyways, that was a fun conversation. The holy wars between snapshot and fork. People are like, because it's a fork, be correct when you're saying it. It's like again, I'm not getting into it. Maybe I'll get graphics. If you want me to go on a rant today, tell me to get into the holy wars on that. I might talk about it. But anyways, pretty funny. Just people worry about stuff that just doesn't matter. It does not matter. Stuff like that doesn't matter. Many more important things to worry about. What's up, Brian? What's up? Can't wait to get up and running. Well, sir, if you are not up and running yet, I have some automation scripts that can help you get up to running pretty quickly. All you have to do is figure out how to use the deposit client, which I have thorough instructions on how to do. And actually, Gamma walked through the entire thing yesterday. So I'm going to clip it out. I haven't clipped it yet. I haven't had time to do anything this morning other than go through the RPT stuff. So I'm going to clip that out. But yeah, Gamma went through exactly how to do it. Not on a console, not on the keyboard stuff, but he walked through the words, and the words were very good words, very meaningful stuff. What's up, Kaiser? Good evening. Good mid-morning for me. Good evening for you. Welcome. What's up, graphics? I know I was just telling everybody I'll be at your show a little bit later. You've got a fire thumbnail as well that I just reviewed. It looks fun. Of course, man. I don't sell my time. I don't monetize. I'm not interested. I'm in crypto to stop selling my time for money. So that's why everything I do, I give it away. I try to as best I can. So that's why I don't have one-on-one consulting. I'm just not interested in giving my time for that stuff. I know what I could help people. I understand lots of people do it. Cool. I'm trying to get away from selling my time for stuff. I think a lot of people are trying to get rich, figure out what they want to do. That's not working for anyone. I don't want anyone to have expectations from me either. What I produce is what I produce. I try to help the community, and I try to, intellectually curious myself to learn this stuff. Go on, the holy words. Choose violence today. I'm a very nonviolent person. It's one. I like that phrase. Man, what is the phrase? Such a good one. It's like basically know how to fight and know how to defend yourself and all that stuff. That's what you should do instead of like looking to pick a fight, or what is it? Something like a weak man is not. A weak man is someone who doesn't know how to fight, but is ready for a fight when it comes. Something like that. But always spoke to me. I was like, that's very good to say. You can be a very calm, gentle, nice person, but you also need to be able to protect yourself. So I don't have any problem with that. Don't say snapshot. I can't. I know it was funny. No, I mean, he's totally right. Technically, he's totally right. I get it. And he was very calm about it too. It wasn't like some thing. I'm just talking about in general in the community. I saw a bunch of comments yesterday when I scrolled down too. I'm like, why does everyone care that much? It's not that important. Okay. And I know the difference between the two too. I know what a fork is. I know what a snapshot is. I just don't think it's worth making a big deal about the differences, because effectively they can end up at the same place. Effectively for the people who are not in tech. So it's a lot of people talking about it. I'm not going to get into it. It's distracting, so I'm not going to get into it right now. Godfather J6, what's happening, man? Good to see you. Kevin, I replied to my comment earlier. Thanks so much. Getting no such file. Yeah, you got to have it in the right directory. Okay, maybe you had an update on that. I pasted the validator keys in home directory generated, then followed through. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, let's bring that up real quick, and we'll talk about it, because that is definitely something I can help clarify for people. So I had a couple people have this too. So if you run the script, so after you run the script, let's go through that real quick. After you run the script, what do you need to do? That's the question, right? After running the script. So again, it does most of the stuff for you, but afterwards you need to generate your validator keys with the deposit tool and import them to the Lighthouse, okay? So on a different machine, you need to run these commands. If you run these commands, we'll get into command line in just a minute. You got to be able to run the commands. If you can do that, I've tested these commands. Let me know if there's any like actual problems. They're pretty much, I don't know what problem they would be. Like they're pretty much just copy, of course, remove this. This is kind of just showing you what to do with the prompt. But these are the commands. If you run them in order, it should work. And just follow the instructions. Once this pops up, it'll ask you for more stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then once you have them, again, on a different machine, not your validator machine. I'll have the security AMA next week. I plan on doing it. I'll go through all the reasons why. You can ask me here too, whatever, but I'll go into more detail about security stuff and why this is a thing you should do and stuff later on as well in the next AMA. So once you do that, you need to get them over to your server somehow. Once you generate them somewhere securely, then you need to take them, not your seed words, but you need to take your keys, the folder called validator_keys, that folder. You need, actually, I got a console right here. I'm not going to generate, actually. Maybe I should do that. Let's see if it actually works. So yeah, let's try this. So this is just kind of a dummy console. So I'm not sure how much it's going to work, but maybe it will. I don't know. Yes. We're doing it live. I probably didn't even need sudo because this is like a fake terminal deal. I mean, it's like a virtual thing. It's not a real server. It's probably some container somewhere. Let's see. Okay, while that's doing it, I'll see if I can kind of demo a little bit. Again, I don't like doing it on, I'm definitely not going to do it on my own server. You know, I don't like doxing. It's just too hard to do without revealing information and stuff. Anyways, once you take them and you generate them on the other server, you need to get them to your validator server somewhere. Once you generate them on a different machine, you need to copy them over somehow. There's 3 different ways to copy them that I've listed here. So you can copy them using the SEP command, secure copy command. If you have Linux, it's installed by default. If you don't, pretty sure Windows subsystem for Linux has a SSH client, doesn't it? Yeah, so if you're running Windows and you want to copy it from a Windows machine to a server in the cloud, for example, or a server on your local network, then you can install Windows Subsystem for Linux. And let's see if it has SEP. I imagine it does. I've never used it before, but I imagine it does. Yeah, it should have SEP. Let's see how to use SEP for Windows Linux. Let's see. Yeah. From Linux. Sorry, I'm trying not to spend too much time on these particulars, but I know some people are out there trying to figure it out. Pretty sure you can get, yeah. So if SSH is on the Windows computer, I'm pretty sure SEP is installed as well. Let's see. By the way, shortcut, if you're ever searching for stuff and you want commands, just type in Stack Overflow, because a lot of people type commands there. You can, a lot of times, get to what you want to do. Yeah, Linux subsystem Windows shell script remain. Yeah, I'm pretty sure SCP is on there. So you can use SCP. So if you have Mac, it should be installed by default, I think. If you have Windows, you can install Windows subsystem for Linux. Let me see. So this tells you how to do that. I'll drop in the chat. God, of course, it dropped the whole useless. Thanks, Google, for shadowing all this stuff. Cool. Here's the actual link. So you install that, and then you can copy it over. I don't have the SCP command here, but maybe I should add it, but I don't have it right now. So it's very Googleable though, how to SCP stuff. So 3 methods. You can SCP, you can copy it over the network from where you generated it machine to, you don't have to have your machine connected to the internet. If it's at home, it can be just on the local network with not connected to the internet. As long as you have it connected to your router on your local network, you can move files with SCP between machines. Or you can use a USB stick. And so these are the options so USB stick, if its hardware is local, you can always plug that in, copy it over, then take that, plug it into your server from machine to machine. There's a bunch of different ways to do this. You can copy it over the network. You can use a USB stick if the hardware is local. Or I said this trick. A lot of people get confused with it. Sorry. It is a trick. You have to be very precise when using it. But this is what I use because I'm running a validator on AWS. So, and I generate the keys on something else. Maybe I spin up a quick free tier instance. I generate them somewhere else. And then I just do this stuff. I basically zip the validator keys, and then I base64 encode the file of the keys. And then I cat, which means like, how do I explain cat? Show me. I don't know what cat stands for. Cat. It's not concatenate. Cat. You know what? Linux. Cat. What? For my own benefit. What does it stand for? Derives from concatenate. Lets you. I guess it does go from concatenate. Okay. Anyways, it prints stuff to your screen. Just think about it like that. So basically, print to my screen the encoded version of the zip file, and then you copy that. You got to be careful not to copy your terminal because there's no new lines. So make sure you only copy up to what your terminal says. So if your terminal has a bunch of stuff here, only copy what is before it over here. And then once you do that, so you have that in your copy and pasted, you've copied it. Now on your validator server in that window, assuming you have access to it, on the same computer, you have one window to where you generated the keys, one window on your validator server. Then use this command, or just type in Pico or Nano or VI or VM or Emacs, whatever editor you want to use. paste in what you've copied, and then decode that into your zip file and then unzip it. I guess I didn't put the unzip command on here. I'll make a note to do that. But those are the steps. Let's see. Sec. I'll go back to the terminal and see if it actually works now. Okay. So let's go back over here to our terminal. Okay, did that work? I don't know. Let's see if we can just... Yeah, okay. That doesn't work. However, I can still show you. I can still clone the repo. So I can't run it because you need to install stuff to run it. But I can clone the repo. So once you have the repo, so yeah, this is like, again, these are super simple commands you need to learn. So ls means list. So it means show me all the names of the files in the directory I'm in. So a lot of people have been saying that the validator, they're getting not found when they run the command because they haven't put the validator file. You know what? I can just create it and show you. Make directory validator keys. So another Linux command line deal. Make directory. mkdir means make directory validator keys. So I'm just creating one just as an example. Yeah, validator keys. So this is where my keys would be. And normally that would have like a bunch of JSON files. I don't know, we could do like touch, deposit.json. So touch is another command, just means create an empty file. Just touch, just create a file. Don't need to put anything in it. Cat, give me the contents of the file. Echo 123 into deposit.json. Now a cat now has 123. Echo means echo this on my screen. And then this means direct it into this file. So this means put whatever the output is, direct that output into this file. So that's how I was able to do that. So just a little Linux trick there. So once you have that, you should be in, see, print working directory. There's another one. So home node. So home node, which is not on here, obviously, but your validator keys need to be in home node if you're following the script. So if you go back to the script, it's trying to copy with root privileges because it needs that because if you're the Ubuntu user. All this is geared towards being the Ubuntu user. But if you're another user that has sudo privileges, it should work fine as well. As long as you ran the script and you created the node user and you have the node home directory. So it's trying to copy. Okay, so this is copying where you are. So if you're stuck at this step, okay, I think I get it now when people are stuck at this. Replace this with wherever your keys are. So this assumes that in the current directory you're in, this assumes the validator keys are there. If they're not there, replace this with the location, whatever it is. Does that make sense? If it doesn't make sense, let me know. Because it's trying to copy this folder, so it assumes you're in the directory where this folder is. So that's why there's no path specification other than the folder name. So when you run this command, make sure you're wherever you've copied your validator keys, you're in that local directory, or put a more specific location. This is a relative location versus absolute location. So it assumes in your console that you are in the directory you need to be in where the validator keys are located. If you were there, then it can take validator keys and it can copy them to the home node directory. And then this next one, this is copy. This is chown. So this is change ownership. This means, so when you copy as root, it's not going to make it the same permissions as your node user. So you need to change that and change all the files within it. This is -R for recursive. Change all the files and the folder in validator keys to the permissions of the node user. That's what this is doing at the new location where this was copied to. And then we want to assume the node user. We need a shell. So we need a bash shell for the node user. And that's what sudo -u means. It says, run this command as the node user. Sudo just means, man, what does sudo actually stand for? Super user do, I guess. Let's go with that. Not important. I'm just like kind of throwing back some Linux stuff myself when I'm thinking about this. So it says, as a node user, give me a bash shell. And this is bash shell is probably the shell you're using. So there's a bunch of different shells. Bash is the most common one. Not important. So once you are the node user, you'll go from whatever user you were to the node user. And then you'll run this command, because this is where Lighthouse is. And it will and then you put the directory. So again, we put it in home node validator keys. So you're the node user. This is just a shortcut that means your home folder. So the shell knows your home folder. This is just shortcut for home node. If it's somewhere else, then it's not going to work. But if you put it in the home node folder, then it knows where it's at. It means home validator keys. And that's the command. And then once you do that, for each of your validators, you enter the password. And then you type exit. I guess I should say type exit. Type exit to exit that shell as a node user and return back to the shell you were in before with whatever user that is. It's Ubuntu on EC2 instances on AWS. So that's why I said that. So once you have that, you've imported it, and then you can reload the daemon. This is all the services stuff. Start the clients, do all that, which they may be enabled already. I believe I updated the script to enable them already. So anyway, it's not going to hurt to do it twice. And then you can look at debug logs with this one. All right, I will stop there and see what's up. Yeah, Kevin K, if you're still here, let me know if that answered your question, and anyone else who's having problems. That is true. I concur. I concur. Hex Radio Network, do you run the script in the cloud or on your machine? So you run the validator. So you run the script where you want to set up the validator on your server. That server could be in a cloud. That could be wherever. Whatever hardware you set up, whatever server you've rented that has your stuff to set up the server on. You want to clone this repo. So right here, I'm going to clone this repo. Oops. So clear command, by the way, just means clear your screen. And then you do git clone. So on your server, git clone PulseChain Validator, this URL. You can get it again, do code, HTTPS, copy button. And once you have it, in the validator keys folder, which, all right, I'm just going to remove this. Another opportunity to learn a command, remove. Remove -rf just means force, don't warn me, don't, just do it. Just do it. So that's what it means. So I'm just going to remove all that and then git clone again, just because I want to make this more clean. And then I'm going to cd into change directory, cd change directory into PulseChain Validator. I'm going to see what's in there with ls. Oh, here's some scripts and the README. Everything that was here, everything that's in the repo, you now have on the server. And another thing I mentioned in the README is you need to make the scripts executable. So change mode plus X means change the mode to executable. Add the executable flag to the file. So I'm going to do that for asterisk, which means everything that is a shell script. So it's everything.sh. I'm not going to do it for readme.md because I'm not going to be executing the README. It doesn't make any sense for it to have execute permissions. I'm going to do it for all the shell scripts. Once I do that, I do ls, and I do ls-al to tell me all of the permissions. You can do it per file or again for all shell scripts. And now we can see they have executable flag. So if we do this for README, we can see it's only read. It's read writable by the user that created it, but it's read for everyone else, but there's no executable. This is executable for all users, PulseX. There's different fancy ways you can do it. You do Gmod 600 to make README only read and writable by the owner for security stuff. If you like, don't need to do anything for this example, but there's different ways to use this. And I'm going to tell you all the bit masks for Gmod, but you kind of just learn them over the past decade or so. With that, let me go back to the chat. Kaiser asked, is it profitable being a validator if you only have one node? Good question. See, profitable, what does it mean to be profitable? So a lot of it depends on the PLS price. So you have three things that make you valuable or not. You have the APY, which just got increased. Yay, hooray. And if you're early validating, it should be much more than if there's more validators on the network. So right now, I don't know what it is. Let's say 20, 30, 40% with a few thousand validators. If you get in early and start validating, your APY, how much you're going to earn of the fees is going to be higher than what it would be if there's 10, 20, 30, 40K people on the network. So your APY is one. Two is how much you're paying for it. So again, if you want to do your own hardware, this is just pure estimates. I haven't built my own hardware to do this, but I heard a lot of people say, 2K is a good number to get some beefy hardware that they like to do this. I've heard other people do much lower numbers, but then you start getting to, okay, what if it goes down? I have to redo it all. For me, if I was going to do my own hardware, I'd go like the 2K option, one-time upfront cost, and then you're going to pay for electricity and maybe a battery backup if you want to add that on for in case the power goes out. If the power goes out, you start getting penalized, right? Depending on how long and all that stuff. And the third is PLS price. So, I'll say just on the hardware cost stuff. So AWS, I've estimated, again, these numbers aren't, I need some more time to get some more bills to kind of average stuff out because I need to run it for a while, but hopefully it won't be running it for much longer. Hopefully May will be here and I won't have all the estimates in it, for good reason, but I've estimated around $400. Could be plus or minus $100. That is based on the requirements that I recently added here that you can take a look at. So I'll share this in here too. I should probably bold this, but yeah, 32 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte disk, and plenty of processing power. That could be, a bunch of virtual CPUs. It could be quad core, i5, i7, stuff like that. It could be Xeon, Ryzen, all that type of stuff. So I'll put this in here too. So those determine your profitability. So if you think about, I guess the way I'm thinking about it is if I'm going to be an early validator, I'm going to earn more APY. I'm going to, and the number of your validators, I guess that's number 4 too. Yeah, the number of validators you run. So if you run one, you get this much APY. You run more than one, you get different factors, you earn more. So another piece, you earn that same piece, but you earn it multiple times. And it can depend on different stuff, your validator, how well it performs, all that stuff too. But generally, that's how you could look at it. Think about you're earning that much more for each extra validator. So if you get in early, you get pretty good APY. Maybe you take an upfront cost. Maybe you rent a cloud server monthly. And then what do you think the PulseChain price is going to be in a couple of years? What if you do, here's a 2-year plan, right? That some people may be doing. Get in early, validate, get the highest APY you can, and do it for a couple of years. Your pulse is locked up, right? And then it automatically, you're earning fees. You hopefully will be getting price appreciation. Not financial advice, have no idea, but we all are in this ecosystem because we believe it's designed for price to go up. Other than the community is awesome and we enjoy being around each other and share ideals, stuff like that. But in general, most people are here because they think price goes up. If you think price is going up and you want a way to lock it up with making APY at the same time, I talked to the Tetra guys. They mentioned, I got some clips coming out on that about how DeFi automation and getting more people kind of plugged in and using the network, that could be pretty cool for validators because more traffic, more volume, earning fees. There's been plenty of projects that have that seem to take use a lot of gas fees. And if you're a validator, you know, it seems bullish for validators. I think the network can handle it. And I think we can handle any challenge. So Richard's not going to launch something that's going to fall over if a bunch of traffic comes. We want more traffic. We want more volume. That means people are using the network, and you know, it's becoming more popular, and validators are getting paid more, right? What's up, Crypto Truth? Welcome. So to answer your question, is it profitable being validated if you only have one node? Ideally, you know, I would just say this: is more likely you'll be profitable if you have more than one node. If you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 100, 50, you know, all that stuff. However, I don't think, you know, again, what do you think the price of PLS is going? I think that would I believe it's going to offset my cost of being a validator. I'll say that. I believe for my personal situation, the PLS price appreciation, along with being early, along with all the other stuff, will offset the hardware costs. That's what I believe for my personal situation, not financial advice. So, but if you can run one, you know, you can run your own numbers. If you can run 5, you can run 10. Your numbers, you know, it looks better. So, K4K had an interesting thread on this too. Actually, maybe I can let me bring that up because that's relevant. So just in a minute or two, and I'll go on. 1 second, I'll get back to you, Kevin. So attention. So this is an interesting thread too. So I'll put it in the chat. Attention, PulseChain Sacrifice is a pitch for validators. Think about hardware 2000. If you only have enough PLS for one validator, maybe better invest. You get more PLS. Yeah. So he runs these numbers. You know, configuring these conservative drops, all that. Let's see. I had where am I? Is it not like showing my comment because I had a few likes on it? I thought it'd be near the top because I'm not blue check marked probably. Well, or just K4K just has 1 million comments. Hard to say. Anyways, I was basically talking about with that math, what is it like? Running 7 validators would kind of put you in the, not guaranteed, but give you a much better chance to beat some of this stuff. I don't know. It's, again, we're all speculating here. We don't have a lot of the concrete numbers. K4K has a lot of good stuff to go off of, but I think 6 months from when PulseChain launches, we'll have a lot more numbers and understand much better how to reason about the network. But here's an interesting thread if that helps as well. All right, Kevin. I just used a thumb drive to copy it to my validator's home folder. The apply house command. The other one does not find the folder though. Yes. So again, it depends on where you are. Are you, this command here, is it in /home/node? Because if it's not, well, whatever user you're running it as, if it's not that in that home directory, yeah, Lighthouse is not going to take it. So you have to, yeah. So I explained all this. Just, yeah, take a look at that, and that should help. Let me know if it still didn't work. What's up, UFO to go? Good to see you. Good to see you. The Chad is in the building. Got the Jay-Z vibe all the time. Validator and coding streams are the vibe. Appreciate that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, apparently a lot of people are busy right now because we got about 20-some people watching, but I'd say a lot of people hit replay king. This is only number 6, and I did all the DevSplain videos too. So if anyone wants to pour into, I probably got 10 or 20 hours of content of this stuff going on. So Red Squirrel, what's happening? What's happening? Welcome, welcome. Yeah, this is more your time. So here we go. Gosh, when script is finished and when published for free. It reminds me of Richard says, "I'm the giving tree of crypto." Very inspirational. Very inspirational. Richard doesn't monetize, so don't I. Yeah, so I would be publishing another script for free, of course. The RPC one, when it's ready. When it's ready. Probably today or tomorrow. No learning tax with, yeah, I'm not a tax advisor, not a financial advisor. I'm not, just consider me not an expert in anything. How about that? Even though I've been a security professional forever, I'm not here to give anyone professional security advice either. I can just tell you my background and let you decide whether it's worth listening or not. Kevin, I don't know if this solved you. I have the folder in my validator home folder, but I'll apply house command. Oh, you're saying it doesn't find this command. Did you run the script? Because that's where it puts it. It puts it, by the way, let's see. If you haven't seen Grafana, if you haven't installed Grafana yet, there is a very easy to use script that installs Grafana for you. So feel free to check that out. Pretty cool to get the dashboard stuff up and looking around. But let's take a look at this. So it literally copies. It links it. So this is where your Lighthouse binary actually is. LN is link, make a symbolic link to this place. So if your script completed successfully, then that's where that should be. And you should be able to talk to Lighthouse by using this or this. So if that command is not found, I think something failed on your script, it sounds like, because it should definitely be there. Yeah, cherry. Don't 32 million? Well, never know when PulseChain launches. We don't know what's going to happen. It could be a massive opportunity to buy the dip. Never know. That's what's happened before with other blockchains, and that's all I would say. Could go up forever too. Anyone's guess. It's likely better to DCA 2 or 3 times at 2K than buy the whole way. Well, yeah, again, it depends on, prices of PLS, and it depends on, again, do you want to be the early in the APY? Yeah, a lot of things to factor. A lot of things factor either way. K4K makes some great points. What's up, HexClean? Welcome. Kaiser, thanks for the answers. Just thinking if it'd be a better idea to just put money out using hardware. I mean, that's the decision, right? Like, you can. There's pros and cons I went through. I don't know. I'm kind of biased because I'm into tech. I enjoy learning about the validators, and I enjoy helping people do it. So for me, not so. I guess that's a good question too. Like, who should be a validator? Who shouldn't be a validator? So again, the title of this or the topic of the day is Linux command line. So if you can't run these commands, if you're totally lost going through all this stuff, you may have a hard time becoming a validator. Just because you're not, you just don't have the experience doing all the commands. And if you're just lost with the command line, maybe validators can be more frustrating than worth it for you. And even if you get set up at the end, how are you going to maintain it? What are you going to do if something goes wrong? There's not a lot of people that are going to be giving out their time all the time. I know Gamma does one-on-ones. I don't know if Feeder does or not. I don't. I just do AMAs, and I try to help people from time to time on Telegram. No guarantees though, no expectations. And Twitter, of course. But yeah, I don't know. It's up to you. It's what I say before, like the seven validator thing I came up with could kind of break even in a lot of ways. Just again, back to the napkin math, just kind of thinking in the K4K train of thought. So he makes good points. Not sure everyone should be a validator, but for me, I want to help the community. Before I didn't even think it'd be profitable, because before the APY didn't change, right? So I went into it thinking it's probably not gonna be profitable, but I think it's a cool thing to do. I can provide utility in the community by figuring this stuff out, helping people with it. I'm intellectually curious about it. I would like to know more about it. I'd like to become, have some of that more expertise with it. So learning experience for me. So it's a win-win. I didn't even think about the money. But after the APY changed, I was like, wow, this actually might be profitable. So that's the way I think about it. I don't factor money into everything. Luckily, I'm fortunate enough not to have to do that. So yeah, that's what I think. Thanks, man. I got to sell my time. Yeah, I know. I hear you. Hopefully one day we can be the boss, right? I don't know. Naval has an interesting quote around, I don't want anyone above me or below me. I don't want to be the boss. I don't want to have anyone as a boss. I think having, horizontal, everyone sort of or I guess lateral, everyone lateral to you, that could be an interesting relationship too. At the end of the day, somebody's got to make decisions, but it doesn't need to be formalized. I think as long as people keep the stuff in check, maybe not. What's up, Hexfetti? All right, Kevin, what's up, man? Do I have to create a username node? That is precisely one of the things the script does. Did you run the script, sir? Because if you ran the script, all this stuff would already be done for you. If you just copy the commands and do them, you can do that, but I made the script where you just / run it, literally do this, and it does everything for you, except the staking deposit and importing. So yes, you have to have a username node. If you don't, a lot of the instructions will change. So you don't have to have a username node, but if you don't, you got to change all the instructions from node to the user that you want the clients to run with. Okay, I ran it. Okay, well, if you ran it, then you definitely have a username node, right? Because unless it failed to create it somehow. And I'll just take this opportunity to plug this reset script too. So if you want to blow away what you've done already, so if you run the validator setup script and you're like, nothing's working, I did something wrong, blah, 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 you can run the reset script. And all it does is it stops the clients, it removes the services, it removes all the client data, and it removes the node user. So if you do that, don't try to run the setup script over and over and over, because it may work or you may get some funky results. So if you run the setup script, you're not happy with it, it doesn't work, whatever, you can just use the reset script. Just change this to true. Change I know what I'm doing to true, because I didn't want anyone to run it and it delete all it only deletes the blockchain stuff, but still, I try not to provide automation that I try to provide as safely as possible these scripts. So change that to true in the code. It'll let you run the script and it'll reset all the stuff. So I would say nothing else. People have done that, and try that. So sounds communistic and ideology, human greed and competition for utopia. Talking about the lateral thing? Not sure, Paul. Oh yeah, maybe you are. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be so sensitive to that side of it. I think he's just a very, I don't know. I don't. It's kind of like with Naval, you kind of get it or you don't. It's nothing. You don't need to be like some special or smart person or whatever. He either speaks to you or you don't, right? I think that's the way I look at it. And he has a guru, and he explains it to people too. Of like, I forget his name. I read a couple of books that was pretty good. His guru, he's like, yeah, either get the guy or you don't. It's just he either speaks to you or he doesn't. So I don't know. I say that because I don't find it communistic, some of the stuff Naval says, but I think I'm looking for something. I get something else out of it after reading his book like 6 times and really watching all the stuff. So yeah, I didn't get that out of it, but yeah, I'm sure there's very different perspectives you can get from it, depending on which ones you look at. So switch users, node should be an option. Let me scroll down here. So make sure you did this. This will get you as the node user. So again, copy them to the folder, change the permissions, open a shell as a node user. It says open shell as node user. And then as a node user, run this. And if your validator keys are in this directory, then it will ask you for passwords and they continue. Try that. After you try resetting, either way. Appreciate it, Big G through Z. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm only going to go for another, let's say 10, 15 minutes or so. Let me see what other topics I had on here. We did that. Tunneling Grafana. So I'll go to Grafana real quick too. Also, I'll show you. So we talked about in the beginning, the window. Again, if you're using Windows, you should install the Windows subsystem for Linux if you want to use Linux type commands on Windows, or just use Linux. Or Mac has a lot of stuff built in too. You can also use Putty. I'm not signing up for tech support on Putty. However, it is like one of the most popular programs ever to use SSH from Windows to any other computer. It could be Windows, could be Linux, but most people use it for Linux. Yeah, why would someone use Putty? There you go. So you can use that if you want to play with it as well. And then let me bring up the SCP command. So by the way, if you ever want to learn about Linux commands, you can do this in the console as well, like man SCP. Oh, seriously? All right, it doesn't have it. But if you type man SCP, it'll bring it up in the terminal. Or you can just Google for man SCP. And people publish these manual pages online. And it tells you all the options, how to use it, like what each one means. And it should be an example. Yeah, some don't have examples, but that's what we like at Stack Overflow. Here we go. So somebody will have a winning one, right? So you copy files like this, copy your user account, where you want to put the file. So this is the server. This is your server, your validator server, basically. So yeah. And then where you want to put the remote file. And then this would be your validator keys. So basically validator underscore keys. Actually, can it copy folders? Good question. Copy folder. You may have to zip it and then copy it. Oh, no, here we go. It has -R. Cool. -R is a lifesaver. Recursive. Love it. So SCP-R. Here we go. Your user could be Ubuntu, could be whatever. I wouldn't use, I mean, I guess you could use no, because Node doesn't have a password. Yeah, you can't use Node. So this is Ubuntu if you're using EC2. Recursively copy validator underscore keys to your user at your server at this path. And that could be like home Ubuntu, validator underscore keys. And that's how you can copy it. So that's if you want to use SCP. And then let's see, let's see, htop. Htop work here? See if it actually installs it. Htop is just a graphical version. Here we go. Up top. So in this machine, or this virtual machine, this, I don't even know what this is. I think it's a container on a backend server somewhere. Apparently they gave us 64 gigs of RAM though, so that's cool. And it's free. You can just like sign up with a disposable email and all that stuff. And it's using a lot of memory, interestingly enough. I don't know what they're running on here because I'm not running anything. So you can use htop to see like what processes are happening, what users are running them, how much memory you're using, all that stuff, uptime. And then you hit the Q button on your keyboard, Q for quit, to get in and out of a lot of stuff. So let's go back. What else we got? What else? What other questions you all have? I'll wrap up here in a couple minutes. I think that's all the things I wanted to cover in particular. Is there a Reddit forum or Telegram talk to other users of your script? Yes. I mean, I assume people are using it in PulseDev. I know some people are using David Feeder's script. A lot of people are using that, probably the majority of people, that he just updated for V4 as well, script/guide. So t.me/PulseDev, that's where a lot of people are talking about it, Kevin. So they're not talking about my script in particular, but they're talking about what scripts are available to use. I think TDS Lane. Yeah, let me go to the references here for other people's stuff. Yeah, community guides and scripts. So this is one. This is one David released recently. Oh, that's V3. Oops, I should have updated that. I updated it down here though. So that's for V3. This is for V4. So this is David's list of commands. Not really a script, but it's it's a list of commands you can use to do this stuff. So this is helpful, at least to get an example of what's going on. So this is the first one. So I was writing the script for Ethereum testnet back in January, February. And then I saw David came out with one. So my plan was to take my Ethereum one, convert it over to PulseChain, because it's just, you don't have to change that much stuff. Like you could literally change my script for PulseChain to install an Ethereum node too. Super simple. I just like, maybe I should do that. Maybe I should have an option. Do you want to install PulseChain or Ethereum node? But I want to spend my time on PulseChain stuff, of course, but you never know one day. This has a lot of stuff that, it's does a lot of the same stuff I do in my script, except this is a Dockerized version. So it uses Docker containers, and there's pros and cons with that. If you're interested, I can get into them, but essentially there's a couple different ways to do it, to run the clients. You can Dockerize them, which means run them in containers, like little baby computers within your server. Think about it like that. And they all talk to each other, or they can't talk to each other. Or you can run them as processes. So a Docker container is technically a process anyways, but there's a bunch of fancy Linux stuff that makes it look more like a computer, whatever. So you can Dockerize them, or you can just run them as the programs as services on the server. I like Docker a lot, but I just chose not to do it with this. I thought it'd be fine just to run them as services on the computer. So you see where he does Docker, he does the, all the naming and ports and configuration. On my script, I basically define everything here, all the different locations for stuff. And then I create services. So I use systemd services, which is like a lot of the same stuff a lot of the guides use to set up Ethereum stuff. And I just basically configure services, and I use them that way. So either way works. I wouldn't say one is better than the other. There's advantage, disadvantage with both of them. So however, that's the biggest difference though. In for example, David's script, I'll throw it in the chat here as well. And my script. So he uses Docker, and then he has a bunch of commands for how to do the mnemonics. I never can say that word. Mnemonic. It's too many M's and N's. And all this stuff. So yeah, pretty cool. And then I had one from Togosh, had some stuff too. Very cool. Gamma guide. Yeah, he listed a bunch of my stuff too. David Feeder has a bunch of videos. Yeah, shout out to David for doing a lot of this cool stuff. Him, Gamma, been pumping out a lot of cool stuff and helping a lot of people with sets of stuff up. Yeah, TDS Lane, I saw him in the chat yesterday. Believe he wrote scripts. Yeah, here we go. Installing a PulseChain with, yeah, awesome. So he has scripts as well. And very detailed, very nice, very high quality. I'll drop this in here too. I believe he uses Docker too. So we'll check it out. Does he use Docker? Yeah, so he uses Docker as well. Cool. So yeah, you can use Docker, you can use system services. Either way, works cool. And yeah, a lot of people are producing a lot of good content for this stuff. Shout out to everyone doing validator stuff. All right, I'm gonna wrap up just another. Let's see, I got one more question here for CoinCritic. CoinCritic, what is the backup plan that most validators are using? We saw with Dash that having backup is important. I can get access to crypto nodes. A backup defeats this. Haven't heard anyone talk about backups. Backup. So there's a couple of different ways, a couple of different things in your question. So when you say backup, are you saying back up your seed phrases, or are you saying back up your node if it goes down? Because there's a couple different things from that. So for battery backup, for like power, you can do battery backups and stuff. For seeds, the common suggestion is to write them down, secure piece of paper, metal, physical access, don't leave them on a computer, stuff like that. And for backing them up, okay, it looks like Veeam backup system. Yeah, so Veeam is like a backing up to another server or something. So if you, interesting. I haven't thought about backups much either. But so your premise though, hackers can access encrypt nodes, charge BTC. Okay, so ransomware. So apparently, I haven't saw this, but apparently people running Dash nodes got ransomware, it sounds like. Yeah. I mean, the first step in that would be is don't get hacked, secure your server. And I got Validator AMA next week I planned, unless I decided to do it earlier. I have a security one where I'm going to go through and say, how do you lock down this stuff? How do you do security? What does this stuff mean? What is it like, for example, in this question even? So if they were to get hacked, what my common understanding as of now, from what I've been reading and researching for this, is somebody were to ransomware your node. So they can't get access to your seed because your node doesn't have your seed. So they can't get access to your ETH if they don't have your seed, because your withdrawal key is derived from that, blah, blah. So what can they do? So your validator keys are on there. Your validator's running stuff. So if they get control over your validator, they can get you slashed. They can take you offline. They can basically, everyone says DDoS, but DDoS is distributed denial of service, which means a lot of different computers sending traffic to something to bring it down. But this is actually a DOS, not distributed. So they could DOS your server by taking it offline, denying your service, right? But they can't get access. If they don't have your seeds, they can't get access to your ETH or your PLS. So even if they ransomwared it, I think, so I'm just I'm going live. I'm trying to build on your question to get some good stuff out of it, because it's a great question. So you could build an image, and Terraform can help with this too with AWS. So Terraform is infrastructure as code. So you could have, take a snapshot of the hard disk of a good state. And then if you get ransomware or something, then you could just roll it back to the previous state where they weren't in. So you could do something like that. I haven't exactly tactically planned that out, but that's the first thing that comes to my mind is you could just you've heard Richard talk about the devs taking snapshots and stuff too, because once they sync to blockchain, you could take a snapshot of the disk. And then if you want to spin up multiple more validator servers, or you want to just for recovery purposes and stuff too, something goes wrong, then you have a snapshot of what that disk looked like at that point in time. And then you could pop back in. All that makes sense to me. So yeah, it's something I haven't thought about much, but that would be one for AWS. If you're running one at home, it's harder to do because you're going to have to use a program, a backup program of some sort to get that image. Yeah. So AWS makes this way easier. The cloud platform makes this easier to do snapshots because they have actual services that help you do it. At home, yeah, I guess you could use some backup program. Maybe like the one you mentioned. I haven't used it before to do that. But yeah, essentially that's the first thing I think of. If your node gets ransomware, if you had a snapshot or if you had a backup, and then you could restore the backup to before when the hackers got in, and then hopefully you know how they got in. You fix the bug, you change the password, change the key, change the however that works. So there's different intricacies there, but yeah, good question. I haven't really thought about that. Entire server gets copied, hacker restore it. Entire server gets copied, it can restore it if hacker locks up your machine. Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. Yes, you can. Great question. Yeah, I haven't thought about that. I'm glad you got me thinking about it, which I got to flesh it out a little bit. Yep, IP whitelisting. Yep. So again, if you're using AWS, key access, using a key, not using a password at all. I mean, you can use a password and a key, but at least using a key instead of a password removes you from a lot of the brute force attacks and stuff too. I'll talk about that more in my security AMA. And then IP whitelisting, if you know that only yourself is going to be accessing it, yeah, you can make it where they can't even connect to your server unless they have your IP address or within your IP range. So there's different protections. So it's actually the default setup. There's not a lot of things. You really got to go out of your way to like get your validator hacked unless you lose your seed words. But at least in the cloud by default, your firewall is pretty locked down. You use passphrases by default. You can do whitelisting if you want, but there's not a lot of attack surface there. As long as you on the remote side. So as long as you stop them from getting onto your server physically or remotely, it's not like a website. Website has a lot of stuff going on usually. But with validators, unless there's some exploits for the clients or an SSH exploit, which is very rare. Yeah, I'm pretty hopeful for the security of validator stuff overall. I should probably Google for validators getting hacked just to kind of see the postmortem, kind of see their story of how it happened and then get lessons learned from that, right? But I don't see it too often, I don't think. It's usually, I would wager that a lot of the compromises come from the seed words getting lost. So it's like nothing to do with the actual server security, but the seed words getting compromised and then they take the money stuff. What's up, George Boss? Thanks for stopping by and saying scam. Thanks for the content. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I can only use just, yeah, disable the root user. A lot of stuff is default. 10 years ago, you had to worry about a lot more of this stuff, but now it's, a lot of stuff is especially if you use cloud. That's why I like the cloud. I like the platform. Yeah, it doesn't help with decentralization, but wow, it helps you like do some cool stuff, DevOps stuff and all that too. Of course. I'm going to make a note too to talk about on the security one. About the root. Let's see. The only. Cool. Have I used Ansible? Are you talking about Ansible? I think you spelled it wrong, but I think I know what you're talking about. That is a automation deal. Ansible, I think. Yeah, I have not used it. I've not set it up myself and used it. Again, working in tech, I've seen people using it. I've seen devs using it and all that stuff. But yeah, it is a automation deal. Different frameworks and stuff available, open source. So I'm aware of it, but I haven't used it before. Yeah, Ansible playbook. Yeah, it could be. That's true. It could be. Good point. All right, everyone. That is it for me. I just wanted to go live and answer some questions. Hopefully, help some people out there figure this stuff out. Not easy. But again, I will not make myself available for questions and stuff all the time. However, I like to answer them on the AMA format, so it creates repeatable content that more people can use. I prefer that over DMs. So if I don't answer your DMs, it's not because I don't like you or anything. It's just because I don't have a lot of time to spend doing it. So, anyways, hopefully the AMA is helpful. All right, one more Excelsior. When validator logs show pending activation, it usually takes 16, 24 hours, maybe 36 at most, but if everything goes right, it should be, I'd say within 24 hours, 24, maybe 36, maybe a little bit sooner. Of course, appreciate that, Coin Critic. Are there any jobs? Like I said, I try to have utility in community. I have different skill sets. I have security, I have tech, I can code. So I try to help everyone out, make their lives a little easier, because this is the best community. So if I'm going to spend my time doing something, it's going to be trying to scale people and help people be less frustrated and contribute as well. So thank you, Photogo. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. All right, everyone. I'll be on with cryptographics in 3.5 hours. So be sure to tune in for that. Should be a good one. Graphics is awesome. Always love to be on stream with him. I'll be on his channel though. So look for that notification. And with that, Scivive and 5555. We are out.